Good evening, everyone. My name is Asnera Irasid, and tonight I'll be discussing about reading strategies and techniques. So first, let's start from the strategies in reading. In order to learn comprehension strategies, students need modeling, practice, and feedback. The key comprehension strategies are described below. Number 1. Using prior knowledge or previewing. When students preview text, they tap into what they already know that will help them to understand the text that they are going to read. This provides a framework for any information they read. So this means that from the word preview, you are recalling the information that you already had by connecting the past information and present information that you are going to read. In this way, it is easy for you to understand what you are reading. For example, me right now taking the subject Jack 9, which is about the life and work of Rizal. So by recalling the novel that I read, the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, it is easy for me to understand the lesson in the subject the life and work of Rizal, which is an example of a prior knowledge or previewing. Number 2 strategies is predicting. When student makes predictions about the text they are about to read, it sets up expectations based on their prior knowledge about similar topics. As they read, they may mentally revise their prediction as they gain more information. Predicting requires the readers to do two things. Number 1, use clues that the author provides in text. Number 2, use what he or she knows from personal experience or knowledge, which is we called a schema. When these two things combine, they can make relevant and logical predictions. Readers should make prediction before, during, and after reading. There are several different kinds of prediction that a reader can make with a text. Readers can predict what the book will be about. By just reading the title of the books, you can already predict what will the book is all about. Predict the author's purpose. You have to connect yourself to the author, like, is the author trying to convince us or of something? Predict future events in the book. Reader bases this prediction on previous events or character words and action. Next is predict why an author included a specific text feature, like highlighting some text in the books. What does it teaches us? What information does it help clarify? Predict what they will learn from the text or section within a text. Readers uses titles, headings, and subheading to inform prediction. Sometimes by just reading the titles, headings, and subheading, we can easily understand what the book is all about. And then predict what would happen next at the end of the book if it were to continue. Predicting involves more than just trying to figure out what will happen next. In fact, predicting requires students to draw on a variety of other secondary skills. As students look for evidence for their prediction, they also ask themselves questions, reread the text, recall information given in the text, infer and draw conclusions. The next strategy is identifying the main idea and summarization. Identifying the main idea and summarizing it requires that students determine what is important and then put it in their own words. Implicit in this process is trying to understand the author's purpose in writing the text. These strategies teach students how to discern the most important ideas in a text, how to ignore irrelevant information, and how to integrate the central ideas in meaningful way. Next is questioning. Asking and answering questions about text is another strategy that helps students focus on the meaning of text. Teacher can help by modeling both the process of asking good questions and strategies for finding the answer in the text. This strategies is very understandable. You question yourself about what you are reading. Questioning helps the readers to clarify and comprehend what he is or she is reading. Number 5. Making inferences. In order to make inferences about something that is not explicitly stated in the text, students must learn to draw on prior knowledge and recognize clues in the text itself. Making inferences involves using what you know to make a guess about what you don't know or reading between the lines. Example, you have read in the text that a character has a diaper in her hand, spit up on her shirt, and a bottle warming on the counter. You can infer that this character is a mother. Examples is if you read in a book that there are two cars bump each other, you will infer that there are accident happened. Now is the visualizing. Studies have shown that students who visualize while reading have better recall than those who do not. By Priestley, 1977. Readers can take advantage of illustrations that are embedded in the text. Number 6 strategies is visualizing. Studies have shown that students who visualize while reading have better recall than those who do not. By Priestley, 1977. Readers can take advantage of illustrations that are embedded in the text or create their own mental images or drawings when reading text without illustrations. So, it is the ability of the reader to create picture in her head based on text that he read or words that he or she hear or heard. It is one of many skills that makes reading possible. So I'll be giving an example of text that the strategies in reading were used. Now let's start from the narrative text. Narrative text tells a story either as a true story or a fictional story. There are a number of strategies that will help students understand the narrative text. Story maps. Teachers can help students diagram the story grammar of the text to raise their awareness of the elements the author uses to construct the story. So, story grammar includes settings, characters, plot, and theme. Settings: when and where the story takes place, which can change over the course of the story. Characters: the people or animals in the story, including the protagonist or main character, whose motivation and action drive the story. Plot: the storyline, which typically includes one or more problems or conflicts that the protagonist must address and ultimately resolve. Theme: the overriding lesson or main idea that the author wants reader to glean from the story. It could be explicitly stated as in Aesop's fables or inferred by the reader. So these are the strategy that you use in story maps. Retelling. Asking students to retell a story in their own words forces them to analyze the content to determine what is important. Teacher can encourage students to go beyond literally recounting the story to drawing their own conclusion about it. Prediction. Teacher can ask readers to make a prediction about a story based on the title and other clues that are available, such as illustration. Teacher can later ask students to find text that supports or contradicts their predictions. And the other one is answering comprehension questions. Asking students different types of questions requires that they find the answer in different ways. For example, by finding literal answer in the text itself or by drawing on prior knowledge and then inferring answer based on clues in the text. Expository text also often uses one of five common structures as an organizing principle. These are cause and effects, problem and solution, compare and contrast, description, time order or sequence of events, actions, or steps. Teaching these structures can help students recognize relationship between ideas and the overall intent of the text. Main idea summarization. A summary briefly captures the main idea of the text and the key details that support the main idea. Students must understand the text in order to write a good summary that is more than a repetition of text itself. Is the key WL, which stands for what I know, what I want to know, and what I learn. There are three steps in the key WL process. Ogle, 1986. What I know. Before students read the text, ask them as a group to identify what they already know about the topics. Students write this list in the key column of their key WL forms. And the next is what I want to know. Ask students to write questions about what they want to learn from reading the text in the W column of their key WL forms. For example, students may wonder if some of the facts offered in the key column are true. Then what I learned. As they read the text, students should look for answer to the question listed in the W column and write their answer in the L column along with anything else they learned. Now let's go to the techniques in reading. In order to read effectively, you need to use different reading techniques for different purposes and texts. You should always read for a clearly defined purpose. Now first, skimming. Skimming will help you grasp the general idea or gist of a text. You might quickly read the table of contents, the headings, or the abstract. You could also read the first and last paragraph and the first last sentence of each paragraph and relevant section. For example, during the preliminary research for a paper, skimming can tell you enough about the general idea and tone of the materials as well as it shows similarity or difference from the sources to know if you need to read at all. Next is scanning. Scannings allow you to locate precise information. You might identify a key terms of expression which will alert you to where your subject is being addressed. You could then run your eyes over a text looking for this. For example, when looking up a word in a dictionary or finding your friend's name in contacts directory of your phone. Next is detailed reading. Detailed reading allows you to critically consider aspects of the text. This may involve close reading of the entire text or of the important sections of the text. Example, reading a grammar explanation, reading the instruction for an exercise in a textbook. Then, next one is the reading for a deeper meaning or revision reading. This is when you read quickly through a long text and think about the overall meaning. You might consider that there is some hidden deeper meaning. Maybe it relates to another topic, or maybe it is making some kind of political statement. Example is reading a novel. For additional information, stages in reading text, it is important to break down the reading process into the following stages before reading. Get an overview of the text. Skim the table of content, headings and subheadings. Read the introduction and conclusion. Scan the relevant sections to locate where your topic is discussed. During reading, closely follow the development of the ideas and the text. Read actively, write in the margins, highlight phrases, take note of important points. Don't forget to examine diagrams and figures as they are information dense. Read critically. Ask yourself, for example, is the argument logical? Is it biased? Is there enough evidence to support the author's conclusions? After reading, think over what you have read. Make a brief summary of the main ideas and concepts in the text.